Okay, well, hang on a second. Now, this does matter to me, okay? What to you is a death threat?
But how do I make money?
It's as it's written when it's like in a chat, like, you know, kill yourself, like, well, not kill yourself, but like other shit where they're like trying to like they're calling for his death. Like it is a death threat. Is anyone gonna act on it? Is the person saying it gonna act on it? No, but like call it how you see it. Like I was trying to mediate a conversation between him and Ross. I thought that was a big deal, and he called me he said that my content was hate / like trend or hate / clout chasing. He was not a fan, but regardless,
did you feel like
I'm
sending him a
digressing.
death threat after he said that?
Dude, I was itching.
Hello, mate. How's it going?
Oh, just stellar. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I can't complain. Are you coming up?
Huh?
Are you going to put your cam on?
Oh, yeah, of course, babe.
Okay, mate.
Oh, you. Hold on. That's not it. God. How are you doing? This Pirate Software guy, huh?
Yeah, I know. When did you start hating Pirate Software? Be honest.
So I actually made some, if you remember, so Private Parts is actually in here. I did an interview with his lawyer to talk about that shit, and I'd like made some videos leading into that as well. He sucks.
Dude, have you
Like,
have you become
I
younger?
went from there. So like I used to be a longtime fan.
Have you become younger?
I shaved. After VidCon, man, you know, kind of life-changing experience, you know.
Did you see Bo Blacks?
God, no. I saw it after the fact, and I was like, holy shit, I can't believe I missed that shiny Pokemon.
Wait, why is there a delay? What's going on? That's weird.
That's kind of cringe.
Okay.
But just to clarify, I'm not, this is friendly banter. It has to do with that upper echelon video. I think it would just be fun to kind of argue about it, because I got some shit in the comments. I don't think maybe I explained my points as well, but I kind of agreed with like a core aspect of upper echelon's video, or at least what I took as the core.
Okay.
So,
are you live
main
at the
thing-
moment or not, by the way?
No, I'm not live. I usually don't go live when I'm chatting with you, because I just kind of jump into your streams, and it's usually earlier in the day for me.
Okay, my camera's going weird, so I'm just going to turn it off, and maybe that fixes it. I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
You're
with
totally good.
it. Okay. You're still on stream, though, so don't do anything crazy, okay?
Yeah. So the main thing that I would say that upper echelon points to is that like a lot of the like the vitriol and shit, which is he thinks that it's just a bunch of hate mob, which I completely disagree with. He was legitimately being a detriment to Stop Killing Games. My thing that I agreed with him about is in regard to like people showing up into Pirate's chats or into his socials and giving him shit. That is completely like useless at this point.
Okay, so, I mean, in terms of getting Pirate to change his mind, obviously that's useless. But then I think it's misunderstanding what the purpose of that is. The purpose of that to me is they just want to fuck with him and wind him up.
Sure. So again, though, like in terms of, so I think that was
it's
the point,
harassment?
upper echelon.
Do you think it's harassment, for example? Would you call that harassment?
By definition, yes. But if we're talking about the situation, like if we're being real about it, that's what you're going to expect. Like you're a public figure, you had a dog shit take, you're not walking it back. This is like, it's the expected outcome. Yes, it's like harassment, but that is the internet. If I make a shit take, I'm going to get a bunch of comments calling me a fucking moron. Like, that's, I mean, you can call it harassment because, like, yeah, technically, but don't be a bitch about it, you know? Like, reap what you sow.
Yeah, I mean, that would just be some semantics. I just think of harassment more as, like, going to a place where it's more difficult to avoid. Or, like, so for example, if I DM'd you a bunch of shit, that to me is more like a harassment than, like, public commentary. I guess chat maybe is a bit more marginal because it's, like, difficult to avoid. But obviously responses on
like
Twitter,
if it's your work.
Sure, but then, like, for example, if you're a big creator, you can literally make it so you only see responses from people that you follow. So you can completely eliminate responses on Twitter from pretty much anyone, as long as you know are happy to just
I guess that gets into, like, I don't know, people like, or like Blizzard with Overwatch, just like keeping a guaranteed filter on chat. Like, yes, you can, you know, work against it, but the he's a streamer. Like, that is his job. His job is to read chat, and then he's going to moderate it afterwards. But it's a bunch of people. So, like, yeah, you can block it, but you're only blocking it once someone has already made the message, once someone's already done it. I think that's a bit more of like a...
You think it's harassment, but it's basically creators have got to expect it because you're a public figure and that's what you got to deal with. Is that basically your take?
Yeah, I guess I'm being a bit pedantic. Like,
no, that's
yes,
fine. At the end of the day, we maybe got like a different view on harassment. We don't need to agree completely on it. But as long as you agree that, like, yeah, obviously as a creator, you're a public figure, you're giving takes, people are going to respond to those takes. That's just the nature of the beast.
Yeah, and like you should be getting that shit. That's just how you learn to make better content. If it's like, unless you're, someone like Pirate, where you're not going to take the criticism. That's usually like if I make a dog shit video and people are saying, it's like, oh, maybe there's actually like a point here. Maybe like it's not just some one-off, comment Andy,
But yeah, I mean, obviously, going to his chat and like during the World of Warcraft drama and saying blink blink manage em is just trolling, right?
Yeah. That's just fucking with him. And that, again, that was the early stuff, because it was like video game stuff. Like, people were just fucking around. Like, you're giving him shit. It's just, being on the nose, versus like what it is now. And I think that's again what Upper Echelon was maybe trying to get at, but I don't know. I think his personal shit got to him. But it was like, that was different versus what it is now, which I think we can expect, because there was an impact to like a legitimate movement, that people are going to be much more like vitriolic with it. And then they're going to get to a point where they're going to like actually start saying some crazy shit in his chats.
Okay. What sort of crazy shit are you thinking of? Or do you?
Well, I mean, like death threats and stuff. Like, I don't deny, or like I can't imagine that he wouldn't be receiving them in droves for this shit.
Okay, well, hang on a second. Now, this does matter to me, okay? What to you is a death threat?
But how do I make money?
It's as it's written, when it's like in a chat, like, kill yourself, like, well, not kill yourself, but like other shit where they're like trying to like they're calling for his death. Like, if you're calling for his death, it's the same thing with like Twitter. People will get shit, or like they'll face legal repercussions. I don't know, if they're big enough, where they're like, this person should be axed, or this person needs to be taken out. Like, it is a death threat. Is anyone going to act on it? Is the person saying it going to act on it? No, but like, call it how you see it. Like, people are very upset with Pirate. They're going to say some much more vicious shit.
So the thing is, for me, because I always see a death threat as something that is more substantive and actionable. Just saying like, you should be killed, or I'm going to kill you. Like, I don't really see that as a death threat, because it's like, oh yeah, some random retard is saying they're going to kill me. They don't even know where I fucking live. But if you said to someone, this is your address, you're at this store at this time every day, I'm going to come and get you. That to me is a more substantive death threat, and I think you can rightly be more bothered about that.
So for you, the threshold is just a matter of like means to actually doing it and providing those means.
Well, it's just someone stating something that makes it clear they've got knowledge of your location to the point where they can actually carry it out. Because any retard with an internet connection can set up an account and just say, I'm going to kill you. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure it's unnerving and bothersome. And I'm not saying you should do that. In fact, I'm against any sort of that behavior. I just think that people get away with characterizing just vague allusions to violence as some sort of substantive death threat in order to further their victimhood. And I think Pirate Software is probably guilty of this.
Well, 2 points of that. Is there a different, so I'm coming at it from like a legal standing in the US. Is that different in the UK? Is it like more stringent, relaxed?
I mean, I don't actually know, but I would presume that in the UK it's probably more,
money off depressed people?
I would think it's a bit more strict.
Yeah, exactly. It's a bit more strict because our speech laws, we don't have the First Amendment, for example, right?
Right.
And I would presume that, there's probably some harassment statute that says if you say, I'm going to kill you, it probably triggers that, even though it's not, even though that potentially that could be protected speech because it's not an imminent threat or something. There might be some harassment.
The odds are some moron on Twitter is not actually going to fucking pull a gun on you. Yeah. Okay, but then the other thing, to jump into like so Ethan Klein getting sent skulls.
Sorry, one sec. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
I'm curious.
Ethan Klein. Okay, we could get to the Ethan Klein shit a bit, but I'm not interested in talking at length about Ethan Klein. But we can mention that if it's important.
Not at all. It's just the core of it. That's it. It's just a question about it. Did you think that when the skulls were sent in the mail to Ethan, that would be considered a death threat?
I wouldn't call it a death threat, but I consider it some form of like harassment or something, maybe, yeah. Because it's like posts sent to your house that's very difficult to avoid. So that would trigger like the personal, direct action I consider that harassment. But I don't know if I consider that a death threat, no.
Okay. So I guess it's just a line of maybe taste, like, because I don't know. I was hearing a lot of people say it was a death threat, but like they sent them skulls which you can ship from a website to do it. Like you can imply, like there's an implied thing there, but whether that actually turns into someone actually, I don't know. The weird thing about that is like if someone's actually planning to kill you, they're not going to send you a forewarning. Like unless they're like really mentally unhinged. So then where do you get into this gray area?
Well, the thing is, a death threat is, if it's my view of it being like a specific threat of like actionable quality, like this is your address, I'm going to come and get you. Even that could be enough, right? Your address is X, Y, and Z, I'm going to come and kill you. Even if that's not actioned, you're obviously attempting to cause some level of like distress or discomfort or something in the person, right? You're trying to make them feel unnerved and unsafe in their own home, right? And whilst I think there can be a general feeling of like, oh, someone said they're going to kill me, I just find it difficult to believe that creates the same sense of fear and turmoil as someone specifically mentioning, your address would, or something like that.
Okay.
For example, right? What would you rather receive? A message that says, I'm going to kill you, or a message that says, your address is X, Y, and Z, I'm going to come and kill you? Presumably the former would be preferable and less unnerving.
Well, of course, but there's layers to it. And also, maybe just also keeping in mind, and I see where upper echelon is coming from, but like the difference between some random, fucking comment Andy saying, death to this person versus thousands of people doing it, suddenly there's like, well, maybe one of them is legitimate, but like you're seeing so many of them that suddenly it does become a thing where you do start to get a bit worried. Like it starts being, how many you're getting sent as opposed to the context of each individual message.
Yeah, sure. I'm sure at a certain volume, repeated messages like that would start to get to you, certainly. But then we get to the other issue, which is that Pirate Software, I would wager, is probably overrepresenting how many of these that he's getting. And he's only ever provided a few screenshots of people sending what I would consider being like substantively death threat-esque comments. I can't remember what they were exactly. So I just think, and I just saw this in the MatPat thing as well, I think he's got a habit of overrepresenting how much of that he's getting in order to further characterize the broad criticism that he's getting, which is a mixture of people genuinely trying to give advice and trolling and stuff like that. And there's probably like a percentage of it that is like death threats, but I think the percentage would be smaller than you'd believe if you just listened to how Pirate Software explained it.
Yeah, you're kind of fucking annoying because we're agreeing a bit too much and it's not as entertaining as I was hoping it would be.
Okay. No, sure. Well, no, you said you just wanted to. Maybe
I agree with you. Unfortunately, the upper echelon stuff was not as separating as I thought. I don't want to bore your chat. They're seeing if I'm being gaped or slightly widened, which I'd prefer. So I don't.
Right.
I want you to be able to do your show.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's it's always good to have a chat with someone about these topics. But I do think we largely agree on this. It's just maybe we've got some differences of definition, and maybe I would take something less seriously. But then again, I do think it's true because I've never had a torrent of like people saying they're going to kill me. So I've obviously had shitty comments.
It's like, you can empathize with the guy, but he's also like, I was truly like the months ago when I was covering the OnlyFans shit, the game dev stuff, like all of that in my head, because I'm making videos, I'm trying to, fence post, I'm trying to get both sides. But even then I was like chatting with friends, like he's being a piece of shit repeatedly. Yeah. Like it's starting to become a pattern of behavior. And then he started pulling this shit here. And it's like, he's not going to back down. And he's doing like a Dr. Disrespect pull. Admittedly, I'm not saying he fucking diddled or talked to a minor, but he's doing the thing where he's just kind of like, we're at a point where the only people watching the guy are the people that are never going to not believe what he's saying. And they're just going to ride his dick. And like, he's kind of cultivated that core audience now. And we're just kind of like, we're fucked to change anything about it.
Yeah, sure. As long as you don't like Pirate Software, I think we can, be happy about that.
Yeah.
But no, so yeah, that's fine. The other thing I wanted to ask as well, because I know you did this conversation with the game dev.
Mm-hmm.
What was
that was insane? Yeah.
Okay. well, you know, I might leech off it at some point to milk this Pirate
Please
Software
do.
drama.
Like, genuinely, please do. He ratioed, if you want, if you go onto Pirate Software's tweet, if you check the original one, so
Okay,
like he
that's
did a
wonderful.
reply being like, I
But how
talked
do
to
I make
Charlie.
money
If you check
off
the
depressed
first
people?
one, that is the top comment is from the guy that I interviewed. His name's Jack Vania, but he ratios Pirate and is like, you do not have the intellectual octane. Or no, it's the second one. It is the Charlie and Josh Stripes.
I saw that tweet. Yeah, I did see that tweet.
That's him, yeah.
That's him. Oh, okay, so you got him on for chat, right.
Yeah. No, he commented on my video after. I was like, holy shit, I saw his comment. I need to talk to this guy and see if he'd be willing to interview. But yeah.
So yeah, what was the kind of
that's
like
wonderful.
overall
But how do I make
perspective, just
money
a
off
couple of
depressed
sentences
people?
about his view on how permissible this is?
Yeah, the biggest thing was like, so he was like, we weren't trying to like knock Pirate if he wasn't there to argue back. Like I messaged Pirate and he called me a hate chasing. Like I tried so hard to extend an olive branch to have a I was trying to mediate a conversation between him and Ross. I thought that was a big deal. And he called me he said that my content was hate / like trend or hate / clout chasing. He was not a fan. But regardless,
did you feel like
I'm
sending him a
digressing.
death threat after he said that?
Dude, I was itching, man. U.S. law, though, it's a bitch. But anyway, so essentially he covers, and I kind of like break down off of him because he'll talk about the actual game side of it and how to, essentially we countered all of Pirate's points about herder, the public doesn't understand game development. So he walks through each of the points that he talks about, like server binaries, APIs, like the shit that most people don't understand, break it down and explain. Actually, everything that he's saying is so impossible is incredibly feasible, and he gives points on that.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
yeah.
No, I did see that tweet, so I could well check it out. And also, in return for me leeching off you, I just want to ask you about potential content for you. I don't know if you've covered it. Are you familiar with the Pirate Software gay furry sexting leaks?
I think, is this from like a month ago?
Yes.
Okay. I think I heard about it. Are you covering it today?
I covered it already. And
of course you fucking did.
The reason I mention it is only because I've got a very vested interest in letting people know who make videos. There is a message in there, if you look at it, where he admits to liking knots. Does that mean anything
What
to
is
you?
that? So, Chud, every time we're about to get off a call, this has happened twice now. You start dropping the most horrendous shit that you ever talk about. What is a knot? What is that? Last time was the Jake raped thing. Last time was that, and now it's this.
Oh, loads has happened since then with his dad and stuff. You know, his dad is trying to file to get his case overturned. Did you know that?
Oh my god. Okay, what is the knot thing? Now you're dodging it. What is it? If you're gonna bring it up in front of me.
Basically, when dogs do the business, right? The way that their biology works is like a knot, and they get stuck inside the thing. And basically, I know that sounds gross. Dog's vagina.
Inside the dog's vagina? Okay, yeah.
And what Pirate Software is saying is that he is into knots, so he likes the idea of like what's known as feral, which is where you have anatomically correct drawings of like dog intercourse.
And you think I should make a video about that for people?
I'm just, I know, well, obviously, you know, I would never want to say, you know, obviously your content is your content. I respect you for that. I'm just saying it's a funny topic. Maybe it's a bit out of your sort of, you know, arena, but I want as many people to know the kind of crazy stuff that Pirate Software is into. That's all.
I really appreciate that. Honestly, if you could, maybe with your chat, you should start a trend called the hashtag tie the pirate knot. And get that alongside Stop Killing Games. Just throw the petition along with a screenshot of that message. I think that would do a lot of help.
Oh yeah, that's a good point actually. It's probably best to not have that, you know, linked to the Stop Killing Games stuff. And you're probably focused on that, aren't you?
I need to make some sense of like I can justify making content about it. And I mean, we're 1,300 signatures off of the UK petition.
Okay. I'll try and find a hashtag that works to link it into the hashtag tie the knot. Okay, there we go. Okay.
So happy to support.
Okay, well anyway, I'll need to remember the next time not to drop some crazy shit on you at the end. Or maybe I should because it's
Please
funny.
do.
Maybe I should.
Comedy comes in threes.
But
just saying.
okay. Anyway, thanks for coming on. Good luck with everything. And listen, it's actually quite nice. We'd not. Last time I feel like we were arguing about something. I can't remember what it was. Probably the Mr. Beast stuff, isn't it?
It doesn't. I just have fun arguing with you. You're fun to argue with.
That's good to hear. We'll swing by again soon,
Good
okay?
stuff. Yeah, we'll do. Good luck with your stream.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Catch you later. Bye-bye. I like Quintheo. He's a good lad. We've not spoken for a little while, but it's like we only spoke yesterday. Well, obviously it's awkward because it's not a very nice thing to talk about. And that's what Pirate Software hides behind, of course. Is people don't want to talk about it because it's gross. And I've got to be the brave free speech warrior that is actually able to talk about it to try and get it out there a little bit, you know?